in the school of life, I would consider myself maybe to be a preschooler or kindergartner at best. So, with that in mind, let me share with you, and also just for my own processing, some of the lessons that I've learned this week. There's two lessons I want to talk about, and they all stem from this beautiful day I had a week and a half ago. It was a Wednesday, and everything in my life was going as well as it has gone in several years. My mood was as good as it's ever been. It was a 9 out of 10, which I've never been, because I have a little app where I track my mood because I'm kind of OCD right now. And I was a 9 out of 10, which is like a really happy smiley face, which I had never been in 3 years. So that was just alone something to celebrate. Not only that, but things were going really well at work. And the best part was that I had finally made real progress in my self-healing, which you can go back a couple of videos and I did talk about some of the strategies that I use to actually heal my body. It's been a long process and it's just something that takes time. But I actually saw results, and that Wednesday was the best, and I was starting to be able to breathe, and I didn't have as much pain or restriction in my movements. And I knew somehow that it wasn't going to last. It was so hard to both celebrate that day and also recognize tomorrow was not going to be as good. And the next day probably wasn't going to be as good either. And there was such a sadness of, oh, but I just got here. I just got to this place where I was able to take care of my basic needs. Now, wherever you're at in your life journey, maybe it's different. For me, the threshold for me is below that threshold is where, I'm in too much pain. I can't do what I need to do. I can't work. I'm not able to work. Oh, I can't cook my dinner. So I'm just going to have to not eat food. And it's like non-functional, right? So there's this threshold of functionality that if I could ever get above that, everything above there is just 100% good with me. I don't care if I have never reached the greatest heights, as long as I'm at that base camp. Now, I made it to the base camp and I thought, oh, wow, so I have a chance to climb this mountain. Yes, finally. I was so happy. But it was kind of like being on a roller coaster where I recognized I was on this thing and I came up to the peak and I saw the view from up there and I said, this is beautiful. And then it was coming down. So I didn't know what to do. I actually asked ChatGPT, are there any books? What can I do when I'm at the peak, but I recognize it? Is there any strategy I can use to like make it come down slowly, just a little bit, just a little dip? Or even level it off like a plateau and then build from there. Unfortunately, it kind of came down too quickly. I didn't get a chance. So things have gotten harder and harder since that Wednesday in many ways. And at first I was just praying and hoping that it wouldn't get worse. Like I don't want to do anything. I don't want to make any big moves. Just don't rock the boat. Just stick to the plan, keep up my normal routines and weather this and just get through this storm. It didn't work that way. I made some choices that I was trying to, you know how sometimes when you're feeling really good, that's when you really reach out to everyone and you get all social and you're like trying to keep it going. It's like staying too late at a party. It's like way past everyone's going home. You just want to keep it the good vibes. You maybe snort some cocaine or I don't know what you do, but something like that. And it was kind of like that, but just a normal sober experience where I'm like calling people I haven't talked to in a year. How's it going? How's it going? Everything's great with me. Meanwhile, I'm trying to maintain that level of great, which is actually going away. So first lesson that I learned in that is you just have to appreciate that good time and let it go. And you cannot hold on to it. You really can't hold on to that. It might come back and it might not. But if you hold on to it, I don't think that you're going to have any easier of a time. I'm not going to say it's going to make things worse because I don't know, but I don't think it's going to make things easier if you hold on to it. I think it's just going to give you one more thing to be attached to that will prevent you from going where you need to go next. So with that, things started going down for me and I'm starting to get in pain and my mindset is starting to come down. I'm like losing my awareness. I'm not able to think positive thoughts anymore as much. I can if I really force myself, but I don't want to force myself. I don't want it to be something that I'm forcing myself. And then Sunday, after that Wednesday, I had this beautiful experience for a month, maybe 2 months, where every night around this time or so, I'd come overcome with gratitude for no reason at all. And I would just feel so appreciative of everything. And Sunday night, it just didn't come. And then Monday, it didn't come. And Tuesday, it didn't come. And now it's the next Saturday, and it's just gone. And in that situation, this is just a side note. This isn't lesson number 2. In that situation, I have the choice. I can cultivate gratitude, yes, and I will do that as much as I can, but I don't want to force myself. But I can appreciate, hey, that was actually a very long gift. Month, 6 weeks maybe of gratitude every single day, like clockwork. And it was real and it was tangible. So that may come again. So letting that go too. It's okay. Well, I had a lot of it. That's maybe enough for now. Not enough, but it was good. So the second part of this lesson now is yesterday, today, and the day before yesterday have been really bad. Really bad. Relatively speaking, much worse. And I hurt myself in a way that I haven't in a long time. And even though I was seeking help at the time, so we got the stories comes on. I tried to seek help for myself from other people instead of just relying on me. And then I got hurt doing that. And now what's the lesson there? Don't seek help from anyone. You're just going to get hurt. There's all these stories that come up. But I keep telling myself, look, you tried something happened. You're okay. You're still alive. Everything's okay. Now, maybe it's time to feel sad, frustrated that it didn't work, and let yourself have some of that emotional release. Maybe it's not time for positive thinking today. Today's maybe more of a time for grieving and loss and embracing the suck. And you can't just do positive thinking. You have to do both. You have to do acceptance. And in this moment, in this week, it's been a really sucky week. So if I can maintain a center of, I know that there is this core of positivity, love, and a beautiful, loving mindset that's available to me, but I don't have to actually push. Like, I don't have to be like, I'm feeling so positive right now. Everything's great. Yeah, it doesn't have to always be like that. As long as you know that it's there somewhere, you can let yourself feel sad. Hey, I feel really sad right now. I feel really sad that things were seemingly going well and now they're not. And it sounds silly when you say it. Things were going well. Of course they were going well, then they're not. That's life. Life goes up and down. It just goes up and down. And you have to ride that wave. You can't just go up to the top of the wave and say, I'm just going to keep going up forever and climbing up like that. You can try. People. I mean, I'm not going to say you can't. People will do that. But it's an industry. Self-help is an industry. Positive empowerment and all this is an industry. This is not life. That's not reality. Reality has ups and downs. The only way to get through that is to ride the wave. To recognize you can only have the ups if you have the downs. If things are going to be good, they have to be bad. Otherwise, there's no context for good. What does that even mean? Things are good. What does that even mean? Things just are the way that they are. Okay? There's no good. There's no bad. Things just are the way that they are. Now, when we become aware of that, and I just mean like, ouch, this hurts. Ouch, this really hurts. We become aware of that we're holding on to a rock. And maybe we have to, we hold it for a little bit. We look at it. Okay. Yeah, it's a blue rock. Okay. It's kind of heavy. I can feel, if I can't hold it forever, if I held my arms up like this forever, they would eventually lose muscle tone and energy and drop to the ground. So eventually you have to put it down. Okay, I put it down. Great. And you might be interested in picking up again later as well. But for now, I need to just let it go. And what am I even talking about? It's literally my bedtime right now, 9 o'clock. Not literally. I mean, it's 8:50. But you know what I mean? Because I have to brush my teeth. I have to floss my teeth. Not in that order. You floss first, then brush. I didn't know that for the longest time. Did you guys know that? You're supposed to floss first before you brush your teeth? I mean, supposed to? I don't know. Is that true? Maybe I just made that up. I would just do your own research, please. Don't listen to me about that. I'm not a dentist. Um, so, yeah, so lesson number 2, I guess this is. Sorry, guys. I feel like. I don't know if people like this kind of like scatterbrain approach to YouTubing where it's not very concise, but it's what I'm doing for today. So lesson number 2 that I'm trying to tell myself is, hey, life has ups and downs. And when people say that, people say, oh, life has its ups and downs. And you hear them say that and you're like, okay, yeah, it's a trope. But when you're really experiencing a low point and you can be present with that, and I know people say this, right? This is like, I've heard people say this a lot, but I don't get it. But if you can be present with that, and also still feel really sad. It's just both of those things. Happiness and sadness. You can't have one without the other. It's like a yin and yang kind of thing. They're really one and the same, or they're two sides of the same coin, happiness and sadness. Can't have one without the other. Just, there it is. Oh, okay. Happy and sad. But right now I'm having a hard time. A lot of things to be sad and feel frustrated about. And that's okay. That's the lesson I'm trying to embrace. And right now I'm not actually necessarily, I'm just tired. Like I said, that's the reality. Is I just embrace this. I'm trying to make a YouTube video right now. For some reason at 9 o'clock, but I'm actually just really, am I tired? Yeah, I'm freaking tired. Okay. I'm really actually tired. I'm not going to make a big song and dance about it. Oh, I'm so tired. But how do I be authentic? How do I authentically express what's actually going on for me? Or what's the predominant thing that's going on for me rather than putting on a show? I'm exhausted. I look like a zombie a lot of the times. And I feel like one. And yet there is this inherent likeness inside of me that can eradicate all of that cloudiness, fatigue, disease, sickness, injury that's there. If only I could just let it happen, right? That's the spiritual angle. We can't forget about that. That's always there. That's always available. It's not always going to be available, but it is always available. And it's a backdrop for everything, everyone. It's a backdrop for everyone, right? Isn't that what it is? Spirituality, it's a backdrop for everyone. It's like the stage of life, right? And we're just the little characters and the actors on the stage, living out our little lives, our meaningless little lives. Don't say that. That's not nice. But it's like there is this lightness that's available, right? At the same time, well, it's 9 o'clock. I'm tired and I should go to bed. So I'm not going to be like forcing myself to stay awake and saying, no, but there's a lightness. Wait a minute. I could be awakened. I could be spiritual, right? Help. Let me be buoyant. Let me be free. I want to feel that. Like I want to feel flooded with light, energy, and be free, be open, be just at ease and at peace. And like you can have that. You can't hold on to it. You have to let it. You have to be open to receiving that. You cannot like hoard it. You can't keep it. You can't grab it, but you can be open to receiving it and perhaps transmitting it. And you just can't own it is the thing. So how do you do that? See, this is starting to turn into some sort of weird self-help guru spiritual sermon for myself. Like trying to talk myself into awakening. how do you do that? How do you allow all of that? Like there is abundant. Everything I say is just a guess. I don't know, but there's abundant energy available, right? In my brain, in my neurons, in my nerves, in my muscles, in the atmosphere, in the lightning storm that's outside, in the ether, in the dark matter, in gravity and light, and the nuclear atoms inside of the atoms, the dark energy. There should be an entire universe's worth of energy in like one little atom in between my thumb and my forefinger right there. That should be more than enough energy to power the whole world a million times over, right? So how do we access this energy that is everywhere all the time, and it's infinite? It's infinite energy, and we're just sitting here in this like confusion. I don't know if this is true, but I'm just questioning this. Like tap into your what do they call that? Your not chakra, channel. Tap into that thing, right? That is the alignment, which is with gravity, because as we are, our spine, the energy that runs up our spine to our brain gives us that life. I don't know, man. What do I look like? Some kind of bipedal? No, I'm a slime ooze, okay? I'm a blob. I'm just blobbing on the ground. That's all. No, actually, no, I'm not going to tell you about my dream that I had. That was a weird dream. I don't know. This video is still going though. I'm still keeping it. I want to like psych myself up into the light. How do I get into the light? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just want to be so bright, just emanating light. Woo! You know how they have on those old religious photos of like saints, right? And they have these halos, right? These gigantic halos of light. What that is when you when you open your mind, you think that you're just by the way, guys, this is just me just spitballing with myself. You think that you're like this character that's like back here inside your brain, somewhere inside your skull here, that's like sitting there at the controls. Oh, it's me. Let's press the button and Charles will do this and Charles will do that. And that's what you think that you are. Right? If you could just open this, that's why sometimes I get so frustrated with myself that I want to like just, and I've had dreams about this. Oh, don't actually want to hit my skull. But I've had dreams about this where like I'll break someone's skull open. Sorry, that's gross, but I think it represents something that like, also why has my hair turned into this thing where there's I made a YouTube short about this, I think, but it just, there's this anyways, okay, maybe that's part of what I'm talking about. So you have to wear your hair like this. This is the halo effect. so if you can open see, now I sound like a crazy person. If you can open your mind, I don't think this looks good though. I don't think that's a good look. If you could open your mind, so that it's not this skull, this brain is not where you are. And that is it's like having this really tight helmet on. You got to take off the helmet. But if you can open your mind like a halo, when I'm trying to get to the point here, then all of a sudden it's all just light. And you're infinite, luminous. I mean, you've heard people like talk about this stuff, right? If you've ever watched any kind of, religion, spiritual content, even some psychological content, or even some, I don't know what's out there. I don't know what people see and what they say about what they see. But if you can open your mind like that, like a halo, that's what the halo represents, is a mind opening and a light that is like who we are. We are not this imaginary character inside of a skull, inside of a brain that's like controlling some mechanical robot machine. That's not what we are. And I just want to drink some water. Anyways, it's 9:01, and I don't think I'm going to become enlightened or awakened before I go to bed tonight. I was trying to talk myself into it, or at least like open the doors of perception there for a minute, but also it's getting late and I need to go to bed. So that's how it always goes. It's a lifelong journey, so just enjoy it. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride, enjoy the ups and the downs. If you can enjoy the lowest points in life, that is true freedom, in my opinion. I had a really hard time the last few years with, I don't want to talk about it. Actually, just I don't want to talk about it. It's just been too difficult. It's been too hard. I don't want to say too hard because I made it through, but no, dog, I'm good. I don't really. I mean, I have to process that stuff, but eventually maybe. But I mean, I do need to process that stuff, so I better start little by little. Look at how uncomfortable I am right now, though. Little by little, I'll talk about my feelings about what's happened to me. Yeah. Ugh, I do need to go to bed, though. So we'll just continue this next time. Ugh.